Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Two Tutors Talking. I'm your host, Audrey Kodner, and we are being presented with another great tutor, and actually a tutorpreneur, because of her advancement in not only just tutoring her kids, but building a tutoring business. So if you are a tutor and you want to kind of like get a little bit of the nuances of how she actually built her own tutoring business, this is the place to be. So I would like to introduce to you Miss Carla Calzada. Hello, Carla. How are you?
Hello, everyone. Fine, thank you. Thanks to invite me to here.
Not a problem. Well, thank you for being here and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, Carla. I am from Mexico, and I started my business since 3 years ago. I tutor mostly math and economics, and I started when I was on my first or second year of college because I wanted to find a job to and to find that was let me have enough time to also study at the same time. And with the time, I realized that I really enjoy to teach, so I'm here.
And it's like it's and I'm going to be using my, expertise to like, all right, that's how you started with the tutoring, but then all of a sudden you just took it to another level. Like, tell us about your journey.
Well, at the first time, I started only like me tutoring maths, and I was doing like in face-to-face classes. But after the pandemic, all my students start to write me, and obviously has to be online. And it was a new world for me because even though I consider a good in technology, was really challenged to teach online. But I realized that I really enjoyed and I have a lot of tools to teach. And I think in my case, uh, it's better because I can communicate and do a lot of things like activities and so much. So when I was like 1 year tutoring math, I have a lot of students that require my services, but I don't have enough space because I was full of book. And I was thinking like, okay, maybe I can consider to start a team. And also, one of my students was like, "Oh, you can teach me chemistry or I don't know physics." And to be honest, I am not really good at chemistry or physics. So I was like, maybe I can have a team. And I started to think on my family member that I know that they are really good at chemistry or physics, and also friends of my college. And I was like, okay, maybe I can do that. So I started to call them and like, oh, I have a proposition for I have a proposal for a job, may like tutoring thing. You are going to have like two students. This schedule is going to be online. The pay is like going to be this one, and they're like, yeah, of course. So I started. I remember with two of my family members and one friend. And after that, I realized that I have an opportunity there. So I was like, okay, maybe I can do that, like for a living. So I started to send a messages for all my students, my current and past students. I said like, now I can offer you chemistry, physics, and another subjects also, because I have a team. And many of them say like, yeah, it's really good. I want to also chemistry, or I want biology, or I want math, but in another uh, schedule and you are not available. So, well, like, yeah, perfect. So I start to have many students for another subjects. And I also, they recommend friends and family. And in my business page, I start to put all the services. So one day I realized that I have a team. Right now, I have five teachers under me, and I think we are really a good team. They are really good, and I feel grateful to have them.
Yes, because when you start expanding, it just seems like a lot of people get worried because what happens if, you were lucky enough that you had your family or you had your friends and they were knowledgeable and you've known them, but when you're like hiring out, you have no idea who this person is. And then you're thinking, I hope you're not just going to steal my clients. And like when you said you're lucky to have that great team, like once you get your team and everyone is going and flowing, it just seems like it really just gels. And that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Right now, I don't have any family or friends like as we started because these family or friends they continue with their professional career, so they are doing another thing right now. But they definitely help me to know that I can have this opportunity, that I can have a team because they give me the confidence to do that. And right now I have all my teachers are like I hired them from in I don't know in Facebook or maybe for a recommendation, but I didn't know any one of them. Now I really know them, but yeah. So for example, I have like all my tutors now. I think I have a I have well, I don't know how to say that, but I spend the time to know them. I talk with them. I
Mhm.
try to know all the things around them to cool have a good relationship. Like maybe, yeah, I am at the boss, but I don't like to feel like the boss that they don't can trust. So I always try to talk with them and say like I'm here to support you, we are a team. So I think it's one of the reasons that now we are really a good team.
Right. And it all starts with you with being understanding your leadership and knowing your role and still not losing your integrity. Unlike some tutoring businesses will just be like, all right, I just need people so I can churn out money and I'll just pay you whatever. Like you're actually like still keeping that element as understanding that this is a business. So it's kudos to you when you go through that. Now, one question I want to ask, because you're still doing some tutoring, what are you noticing from your students? Like the clients that are coming in, what do you notice is like almost like a missing piece in the sessions?
Well, for example, I noticed that I think many of my students don't trust in themselves, because they are afraid to ask. Because when I say like, what do you understand? I don't know because I don't want to ask what I don't understand. So
Hmm.
it's like, okay, don't worry. We are going to figure out what you don't understand and we are trying to check what is the answer of that question.
Right.
Because I think it's mostly are the confidence. I think. And I don't know in other countries, but in Mexico, I think in the traditional schools, there are many of teachers that they don't let the students ask or they make them feel like not intelligent, for not say another word, not intelligent
Hmm.
or maybe guilt for don't understand the topic. So they prefer don't ask. I prefer don't ask and I keep with my doubt. So when I start my classes, I always try to, and I also, these values are with all my teachers, like you have to let them ask, all the doubts. And so, for example, in my first free session or my sample class, I try to listen my students because I think sometimes even the students are younger, anyone listen them. So
Hmm.
I try to listen them. So like, okay, talk me everything about your situation. And maybe you can think like, okay, they are young. They are not going to talk. They talked Like if they know that you are able to listen them, they are going to talk and they are going to tell you all the things that you did. Like my teacher is like
Right.
that, I feel like that, I don't know, everything. And so I think I
Well,
spent like 15 minutes or more only listen them. Like, okay, and I notice
mhm,
everything like, okay, you feel like that and you like that and you don't like this thing, to check what is happening. And I think one of my um biggest milestone is to learn how to listen my students, and to find
mhm,
in that sample class what is happening. Is because sometimes I don't think they are not intelligent or they are not able to understand. They are afraid of. So when I find the
mhm.
thing, I go, okay, I can manage and we can work with that. And
Yeah,
I try
I totally
to
agree.
and I try to uh, give these values and teach also my tutors to listen the students. So it's
Mhm.
uh, an important value that we have is listen our students.
Yes, I mean, that's a key thing because how can you perform the session if you don't do as what we used to call a temperature check? Like we want to see, how are you? Are you mad about something? Are you, oh, I'm okay. No, today was a great day. Are you extremely happy? Something really happened. And in order for you to sink in, you need to know how that person is feeling. And you might be the one and only person as a tutor to basically say to that child, how was your day? All day. No one, because they're so used to being talked to, and you got to do this, and you got to turn your homework assignment, you got to write your notes down, you got to apply this, you got to participate in this project. And no one's really actually take the moment to say, how are you? How was school really? And have those moments and still jump in with the tutoring. So it's not like, okay, I don't want you to just sit there and talk to my kid for the whole hour because I'm paying. Tutoring is still be taking place, but that's so vital, like to really build a connection with that student. That's great. So you've kind of mentioned a few things that made you unique. You went from a tutoring and then you got with people and then you're building a tutoring business. And it's kind of like, where do you see yourself as you progress?
Well, I think in particular this year I feel so confident on what I do and what I am. Because in the first year when I started, even though it was business and even though it was a good progress, I feel so insecure. I made a lot of mistakes. Maybe I can count in one. I have a lot of mistakes. I think more than 100 mistakes. Like a lot of things. And I felt so insecure about what I'm doing. When people ask me like, what do you do for a living? I feel ashamed or I don't feel secure about I have a business. I tutor like in my full-time job. And but now I think like past 3 years maybe and I'll have to do a lot of mistakes, but now I think I feel so confident about what I do and that I have a business because sometimes I can't say that I have a business, even though it's a business. But now I
Mhm.
can say like I have a business is progressing, is growing, and I think I really want to learn. I think this year for me is to learn because sometimes we forgot that we are teachers. Yeah, we teach, but also we have to learn. So
Right.
this year for me is my goal is to learn how to how to give better classes, my quality of classes, also how to manage all my business in a good way, how to, I don't know, manage marketing and all the sales things and the ads in Facebook and the ads in my city. So I want to learn how to do that. Maybe, I don't know if I don't have enough time to do the steps, but maybe to learn how to do it. And maybe the next year I have to the time to do that, But this year is to
Mhm.
learn how to. And I really wish to have a business to give a good quality classes, but also a good quality of service in client service. Because I
Mhm.
think one of my good things in my business is that we listen, as I told you, the student, but also we listen to the parents. So I like to feel connect with my tutors, with my clients, with my parents, with all of them. So I want to provide better services in all of the senses. So I think
Okay.
it's my goals, and I see it like this in maybe 5 years. I think I can do all the things together.
That's awesome. So, if anything, like, what are some of the things that parents should look for to kind of guide them into tutoring?
Well, for example, some parents have a lot of doubts on how to manage the struggle with the subjects. They don't know what to do. They think that they have to put a lot of homework, or they have to, you have to give a lot of exercise to them. And I was like, no, it's not necessary. With the 1 or 2 hours that we saw in class is enough. Maybe we can do another activity. For example, I have one student that she started hating maths, hating, like, I hate maths. And now she was like, oh, I really enjoy your class. I think 2 days ago she said me, oh, really? Now the hours is finished? I feel like so quickly. So she enjoyed the math. So I remember that the moms told me, you can give them exercise. I said like, no, because I don't want that overwhelm my students. Now she doesn't hate the math. I don't want that to start again. So with that process. So no, maybe we can um, find another way to improve their skills. For example, I think many students doesn't have a logic, and I don't think it's because of them, because now we have a lot of things around us, like a lot of apps, a lot of games, a lot of screens, and we don't practice of logic with a puzzle or maybe with a Sudoku, with basic things. So I say like, I prefer that they spend time playing like puzzles, or maybe a word puzzles, or maybe Sudoku, or maybe logic games. I prefer that I spend 1 hour a day, each day, playing that games to improve the logic. And maybe, oh, well,
Mhm.
no, sure, I'm really sure that with that time, we are going to improve the skills in math, because it's like hand in hand.
Mhm.
So
That
yeah, I
works.
think that.
So, like having those things, taking a look at what are some of the things that your kids are struggling with, things that you're like, I haven't seen that since I was in school. And just basically overall, I know a lot of parents want to muddle through it, but guess what? But especially with math, it spirals back. So like it's not a one and done type thing. You're always going to go back to the fractions. You're always going to go back to the decimals. So it'll be best to kind of have those foundational skills. So now, any upcoming attractions that's coming for you? Like, are you have anything coming for maybe the summer? Is there any like slots open for people to contact you to, get some help? Any other attractions?
Well, yeah, we have some of the things. We planned to make courses for the students, but no like math or chemistry courses, more like health courses. The last January, we gave anxiety manage a anxiety manage course. So
Okay.
my students go to seminary or a master class with a psychologist, and they'll learn how to manage anxiety, because I think it's
Oh.
a really good tool for my students. So this summer we planned to do another course of health for all my students, and obviously another people could go for it.
Oh, like, do you have like a launch date or?
We are going to plan because we don't have a date yet, but we plan it to do at the middle of July or maybe at the beginning of August in summer.
Okay. Perfect. So it gives you time that you are not trying to take your whole summer. Every time it's like, oh, everybody's trying to take our summer. No, we're not trying to take your summer. You're still going to have a summer, but if you guys can connect again and end of July, beginning of August, that will be a great time to reach out and to be able to break down concepts and be able to improve on our logical thinking. It will probably cut down on a lot of the foolishness that's going on in today's society. See, it all comes down to math, guys. It always comes down to math. So, how can we reach Miss Carla? What are some of the places that we can reach out to you when we want to get your services?
Well, we can reach me out or all my team on Instagram, Eclasesonline, and also through Facebook, Eclasesonline again, or also with email in eclasesonline01 at gmail.com.
Okay. All right. So I will definitely on the replay be able to list all these so you can get it instantaneous. So you don't have to be like, what is it? And you're trying to write all this stuff down. So you can actually get all that and to get in connection with Carla and her team to help improve. So, one, Carla, thank you so much for being on Two Tutors Talking. This was such a joy. I'm so glad that you were able to get your schedule together so we can meet. And for those that are here, just really learning and to advance, the reason why we have the Two Tutors Talking is basically to introduce you to tutors from around the world. So we have Australia, we have Mexico, we have everywhere that you want to go. So there is no excuse saying, I can't find the help that I need, because there is always help right around the corner. So thanks again for coming in and have an amazing day and continue to be awesome. Bye now.
Bye. Thank you for inviting me. It was a pleasure.